Welcome to PhotoshopUser TV, brought to you by the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. And now, here are your hosts, the Photoshop guys.
I have no idea where to look.
Look at the empty board.
Look at that one. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of PhotoshopUser TV.
Another season at that.
Another season, it is. It's been a while.
Yes.
Brought to you by the National Association of Photoshop Professionals, the creators of the magazine that is held up with little eyes peeping above it from Corey Barker, PhotoshopUser Magazine.
There we have it.
Yes. Hey, everybody, welcome back. So this is a brand new season. We finished up our last season. I think it was our 300th episode.
300th episode, yes.
So we got a brand new season. We kind of took a break. We had Photoshop World and a couple other things going on, but we are back for another full season, which is usually 1, maybe 2 shows. And then we'll take another 6-week break. So, no, yeah, 2.5 shows.
Exactly.
I'm joined today on my right-hand side by Mr. Corey Barker.
Hello, glad to be here. Glad to be back.
It's good to see you. It's been a while.
It has been a while, man. We've been crazy with CS6, of course.
I saw you earlier this morning and yesterday and the day before.
Yes, you know, we're running around. It's crazy.
No, it has been crazy, but we'll talk about that one in a second here. And then over in the weather station, we have Mr. Pete Collins.
How's it going, guys? Hey, how's it going?
Well, we're good. Are you good?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
I'm doing well. We survived last week, so I'm excited about this week.
If you're looking at the screen and you see a bunch of weary Photoshop guys, it is because it's kind of big news, and it doesn't get much bigger in our industry. You know, Photoshop CS6 has launched, and for 3 guys that work full time for the National Association of Photoshop Professionals, that's about as big news and about as big an event that we can get in our industry. So it takes a lot of time. We do a lot of classes and courses and posts and all kinds of crazy stuff. So
it's like everything we do is amplified that much more. But it's fun.
Yeah,
we really enjoy. Don't get us wrong. We enjoy it, but woo.
And when I say we do them, these guys do them.
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
kind of sit around and take vacation time.
Yes.
Appears to be what I do. So I was on the road. I was doing some
seminars.
I was out doing seminars. I was doing the Lightroom 4 live tour, and we had my first 3 cities just so happened to coincide with the launch of Photoshop CS6. So that was even kind of put more stress on it. But some great crowds. I was in Minneapolis, Chicago, and LA, and I gotta say, it was if you happen to attend, thank you, because it was 3 killer crowds to kick it off.
Chicago's a great city. I love that there. So.
All right, so we ready for a tutorial?
Just about. Oh, we have to mention who our special guest drop-in is.
Oh gosh, we have a special guest drop-in. So Lindsay Adler was here.
Yep.
Lindsay Adler was here last month. Lindsay is a fashion photographer from New York, and she's just tearing it up. She's tearing up the scene. She's a great instructor, great writer, great teacher.
Really knows her stuff really well.
And but she's incredibly creative too.
Yeah.
So we're really happy to have her here. She did some classes for kelbytraining.com, of course, the first of which just went up yesterday. So if you're a Kelby Training subscriber, make sure you go check that out. But we also have her for a guest tutorial on the show here.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
all right.
Cool. Is it my turn?
According to the prompter, you are up first, yes.
Okay, so that was good. I had to kind of throw it to you, because you can't introduce yourself for a tutorial.
I think we should try that one time just to see how it goes, but no, not today. So
coming up to today is a tutorial from Matt. Matt is I'm gonna do I did this on the NAP member website last week, so I thought I'd share it with you guys here on Photoshop TV. I kind of been taking a lot of the photos from my portfolio and just doing start to finish. Camera raw, and then whatever kinds of things I do to finish it up in Photoshop. So here is raw settings. You can see everything is zeroed out. We're opening up the raw file. The first thing I would do in here is come in and crop this. We'll do 4:5, which is the same as 8:10. And I understand you're saying, hey, crop in camera. You know what? When you're following a little baby around, sometimes you just don't have that ability. So you take the shot when you can get it. So we have our 8:10, because this is my niece, Ella. She's a cutie, so I'll probably print an 8:10 and give it to my sister-in-law for her. But get our cropping done here, and then and take a look at white balance. Let's turn on our background, our clipping warnings in the background too, so we can see what's blown out here. I'll probably just warm it just a little bit. I had actually used, during this shoot, I had somebody hold a gray card up, so the photos are already white balanced as they are. But we'll just kind of warm it just a little bit, take my exposure, crank it up, and if you're looking at it and saying, hey, you're blowing out the background, that's the point, okay? I had a light pointed at the background. I want it to be white, so I'm okay if it starts to get blown out here. All right, so we'll go crank that exposure up a little bit. Don't really need contrast. Highlights. You can see here there's not really any highlights. I don't want to take down the highlights because the highlights would be in the background. Shadows, we can open that up just a little bit here. Whites and blacks. So here's what I do. I hold down my Option key on Mac, Alt on PC. I click on the white slider and I drag it until I see a white point, which I already see here because we have our background. But then I'll do the same thing with the blacks. And you'll kind of see her eyes start to pop through there.
The creepy reveal.
Yeah, creepy. Creepy. Hayden. And we'll even pull that back a little bit. We don't want it too contrasty. You can take a look at the preview before and after. So that's just with camera raw so far. I might even kind of increase the exposure a little bit more. Next thing I'll do here is I'm going to zoom in on the face. I'm going to grab the adjustment brush and I'm going to take my clarity and drag my clarity all the way down to -100. And just use the brush and just come in here and I'm going to paint over the whole face. Okay, and in a second here, and I'm not even going to go over all the skin. What this does, when you take clarity negative, it gives you almost like a softening type of effect. And that's what I'm looking for here. I just kind of want a little bit of an overall softening type of a feel to it. Now, it's adding that softening to everything inside of the photo. Okay. I don't want that, so then all I'll do is come up here and just click on Erase.
2 times. Maybe 3.
Come on. You can do it.
Doing it too much flare. Just
there. Oh, it was so close. Oh, that's good. Come on. We have a moment here for technical difficulties. Because in case you're wondering, you can do these tutorials as many times as you want beforehand, but you can guarantee as soon as you're doing it on the show, it's gonna screw up on you. Anyway, we got our erase thing going here, so all I'm gonna do is just erase.
You just confused it a little bit. That's okay.
I know, and it's like going,
it's frustrating when Photoshop can't keep up with you. Come on, man.
I like to think faster than the computer.
yeah.
It's like a chess game. You got to be a few steps ahead, but it can't keep up. So.
All right, we're getting there. Let's see if we can. I'm hesitant to even click on this brush again, but I have to because I have to go over here and I have to erase from the eyes because I don't want the eyes to get that blurry look. Okay, there we go. And the nose and the mouth. So I've just erased it from there, but take a look here. I'm going to zoom in for a second. Here's before the adjustment brush. Yeah, look at that. See, big difference. Before, after. See how it softens everything? And I'd still probably come in here and I'd get it in the eyebrows. All right, so you can get that overall softening effect. And then, of course, it's way too much. So I just dial the clarity down. Okay, so that just kind of gives me a little bit of a softening there. At this point, I'm ready. I'm going to click on Open Image. This is going to take us over into Photoshop. I would then create a new layer, zoom in. I have a little trick with the clone stamp tool. Change the blend mode to lighten, the opacity to, let's say, 20% here. And then what I'll do is I'll hold down.
Press enter. Your text is still highlighted in that field.
I'll hold down my Option key on the Mac, Alt on PC. I'm going to sample and then just paint over. Just kind of paint over a couple times there. 1, do this side over here.
And I think what gets a lot of people in trouble there is they tend to wipe out those lines completely, and it makes the face look almost too plasticky or porcelain-like.
And that's why when you do that light and blend mode and you do it at 20%, it kind of builds it up. And you can see here, if I turn the layer off, that's before, that's after.
Yeah, you don't want to erase it completely. You just want to make it that much more subtle.
And it's on its own layer, so I could always just reduce the opacity if I needed to. Command Option Shift E will merge everything onto its own layer. And at this point, the only other thing that I would do here is a filter that I don't have in CS5 or CS6. I actually didn't install it in my, my version of CS6 yet. So let's hop over here.
Which one would that be?
To CS5. But it's a little finishing technique here. And that would be inside of Color Effects Pro. Because it's a baby. It's got that nice, soft kind of a feeling to it. So I would go over here, opening this up inside of Color Effects Pro. And I go to my filter list here, and there's one called Classical Soft Focus. So I kind of like that one. It's got all these different soft focus methods over here in the list over here. But to me, if you take a look at the before, that's after. It just kind of gives a little bit of a softness to it.
Yeah.
See the difference? And of course, it does it on its own layer, so that I can come over here and add a layer mask and take a brush and, kind of get rid of it from the eyes. But it still keeps that overall,
Yeah, exactly.
just that overall soft glow. And you can, of course, reduce the opacity of that too. Okay, so there's our before and after. I can open up really quick here. Let's just open up our.
He's raising the cute factor.
The cute. Yes, you know what it is that's the that's the gimme, right? It's like, oh, it's a baby.
Yeah, it's kind of cheating when you pull up a cute little baby with
I
wings.
know. Let's reset our camera raw default here. So there we go. That's our before image, and that's our after image. So before, after, cute little baby. She's a cutie.
Yeah, it's so cute. Oh.
Anyway, all right. So there we go. Start to finish.
Very cool.
I'm gonna look on a teleprompter, Corey. It looks like you might be next.
I might be next.
What do you got?
I might be. I might not be. No. I got a quick little 3D tip. Something actually really interesting. With 3D and CS6 now, it's a whole new world. I'm very excited. I can't tell you how much fun I'm having with this. So much more
Oh,
than
gosh, that's all he talks about.
So much more than CS5. I am so much more adventurous. It's really a lot of fun. And the reason being,
Adventurous.
the reason being is that things are that much more editable in CS6. When you created 3D text or even shapes, they weren't editable. You created it from a shape, and that shape was it. If you wanted to go back and redo the text or, or modify the shape a little bit, you had to go back to the beginning. So talking about shapes, I'm going to go over here and let's just grab the rounded rectangular tool. I'm just going to draw out a box here like that. And let's just say I'm kind of creating a generic graphic for a 3D logo. And I actually wanted to do this as a path, not a shape layer. So let's redraw that. So just make it a path. And then I'm going to go and let's get the ellipse shape tool. And this I'm going to set to subtract from this shape. So we've got it. The original one was to combine the shapes. Of course, there was no shapes to combine to. So with the ellipse shape tool selected, I'm just going to go in this pop-up menu and choose subtract from shapes. And we can see what's going on over here in our paths panel here. Let me go ahead and make the icon enormous. There we go.
Which isn't really enormous.
Which is only a fraction of enormity. But the reason why I wanted to show you this is that that this icon represents the white area is the active area of the path, and the gray area is the inactive area. So if I draw out that circle subtracting from the shape here, you can see it knocks out that area of the circle. So let's go and create a new blank layer and perhaps give it a color fill. Let's just give it something like this. And with both paths or shapes selected, I'm going to go over here under the 3D menu and choose New 3D Extrusion from Selected Path. And it's going to remember to knock out that shape just like you would expect it to. Now, in earlier versions, or in CS5 rather, you would have had to go in here and manually knock out this shape, and then even then, it was a little iffy if it would work, because you had the constrained features and stuff like that. It was a little confusing on how to work it. But this goes ahead and recognizes that the shape is knocked out and will go ahead and correspond in the 3D shape. So I can move that around. But let's just say I get to this point and I'm like, oh, well, I wanted to make that circle smaller and perhaps add another shape in there. Well, as I said earlier, you would have to delete this layer and go and redraw your shapes and then start over again. Not the case now. All I have to do is in my 3D panel, make sure I have the layer for this 3D object selected. And in my Properties panel, let me go ahead and open that up. Now, I always have my Property and 3D panels right next to each other, because any line item you select here in the 3D panel, the corresponding properties will show up in the Properties panel. So that's how you edit your settings. So with this shape selected, I have a button down here at the bottom called Edit Source.
Is that a C for Corey?
That is a C for Corey.
Okay, just one.
And that was subconsciously, because I did not even think about it when I created it. That's how in tune. I'm right.
It is. It's part of
tune
you.
with
3D is part of you.
All right. So we're back inside this original file. What we did was I hit the Edit Source button, and it opened it up, that separate document, just like a smart object in a sense. And there's those original shapes. And let's open up that Paths panel one more time. There's that same information. So let's say I wanted to modify this circle a little bit, maybe expand it out a little bit more and do that. But let's say, for instance, I wanted to add a shape inside the circle. So I'm going to add another ellipse shape, but this time combine shapes. And put that right inside there. So you can see inside my little preview here that there's that little white circle inside of the path. Now, when I close this document and save the changes, look at that. Modified the shape, the outer shape, and also added this other shape as part of the new design. So I did not have to go back and recreate it. Not only was able to modify it, but add to it or subtract to it, whatever it is you're meaning to do. But if I just move this around, so there you can see. So that extrusion is a bit deeper than I would like it to be. So we'll just go back and select that shape, extrusion depth. We'll just take this slider and bring it in a little bit. And you can bring it forward or backward.
Crazy.
And just do crazy cool stuff like this. And from this point, I would continue to add my surface properties. And of course, I'll get into those. Those are much more complex features. But more to the point here, just wanted to show you how quickly and easily it is to not just create a shape and make it 3D, but then able to modify it after the fact without having to go back in the beginning. So 3D is really coming along. In just a few versions, it's really becoming a really viable tool for designers in Photoshop. I'm really excited about it.
So it's very adventurous of you.
It is adventurous.
Now the 3D.
Look for more adventures.
Is 3D available in all versions?
Unfortunately, no. It's still only an extended version, but now more than ever, I think it's worth getting the extended version because of this. But again, yes, it is only an extended version. Definitely worth it. If you're serious about design, serious about 3D, definitely give it a look. So.
Yeah, and while we're on that topic, because I think this is kind of like it's like a little mini public service announcement. While we're on that topic, I think it's good for everybody to know that, because we get a lot of questions on standard versus extended. So I would say this: 3D is the only reason to get extended.
Exactly.
Right? Unless you're a medical professional that's using the medical analysis abilities of Photoshop, don't misunderstand what extended is. Okay? 3D would be the only feature that you would get Photoshop extended for. If you're a photographer that's not going to use 3D, and you know you're not going to use 3D, don't buy the extended version. Don't spend that extra money on the extended version, because there's nothing else in there for you. Even the video capabilities that have been added in CS6, which used to be an extended feature, they're inside of the standard version now. So just kind of keep that in mind, because I know a lot of people wind up getting it that don't need to buy it. And they spend the extra money on it.
Now, ultimately, just because an added thing, what was just announced recently was Adobe announced the Creative Cloud. And if you're a subscriber to that, you can actually download
the extended
version. The only available version in that is the extended version. So if you subscribe to the Creative Cloud, you will have the 3D capabilities in there as well. So just something to think about. But I
know it gets a little confusing for people, so just keep that in mind. Extended 3D. If you're not going to use it, if you're a photographer that says, I'm never going to use 3D, forget it.
Yeah, used to be there was a list of things that would separate one or the other. 3D, extended, that's the only addition. So.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and after that break, we have a tutorial from Lindsay Adler. We mentioned her in the beginning of the show here, but Lindsay's a fashion photographer from New York. You'll definitely want to stick around. We'll see you back here in just a minute.
All right.
Fashion, lighting. I'm obsessed with red. Red is arresting, it's eye-catching. People can go anywhere for beautiful headshots, nice portraits. But what I like to do is give them something a little more. Have a concept. I like to tell a story. As a professional portrait and fashion photographer, I like to take the elements of fashion photography and apply them to my portrait and wedding work. We'll cover locations, props, hair and makeup, just a lot of different elements that you can apply to your work and really stand out from the crowd. Fashion Flair is not ordinary, it's exciting. So come watch my class, Fashion Flair, at kelbytraining.com.
On your time, I can hear her count. I can hear you. Hey everybody, we're back at PhotoshopUser TV. I am joined still, should you happen to have left and forgotten who's on the show with me.
30 seconds ago if you left.
I'm joined with Corey Barker over here on my right.
Hello.
And Pete Collins over here on my left.
Yep. Oh, wait. Yep. Hey, I'm still here.
He's still here. We can verify.
He's right there. There he is.
And he's there again. Pete, wave.
And then he got cut off.
He's gone.
It's gone.
There he is again.
There he is. Okay, he was waving. All right. Hey, so apparently, remember when I kind of said after the break we're having a tutorial from Lindsay, and we thought that we're going to go straight to the tutorial from Lindsay. Apparently, we're not. We're back here so that I could waste
to throw you
time
to another break. No.
To throw you, yeah. So no. We do have the tutorial from Lindsay, so we'll see you back here in just a minute.
All right.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with New York fashion and portrait photographer Lindsay Adler. Lindsay, how you doing?
Hi, nice to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Now, she's not going to brag, but I'm going to brag for her. So she's an author of 2 books, and one of them happens to be the Amazon top pick for 2011. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I know you do very, very well. I'm a fan of your photography, as well as many people are. But Lindsay, you're here to be able to talk to us about a couple of Photoshop tips. But before you do, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do.
Well, I'm a portrait and fashion photographer, like you said. And so if you look at kind of what I do in a given week, it can really vary. It doesn't mean I just photograph fashion. So let's say one day I'm doing a portrait shoot of a professional athlete.
Okay.
Really fun. It's a great way that for example, if it's a professional female athlete, helping them feel confident and beautiful and basically turning them into a model for their one shoot.
Okay.
And then another day, a jewelry company will ask me to shoot their lookbook, basically showing what they do, what they offer. And then another day, I'll shoot a crazy, really out there editorial for a fashion magazine. And it's great because there are no rules and I can do whatever I want.
Nice.
All creativity.
Very, very cool. Sorry, so ad agencies and design people come to you and just go, Lindsay, give us this look, and you produce that stuff.
Right. So it's like, for me, it's about, let's say 70% of the time, it's a client coming to me and saying, okay, this is what we need. What kind of ideas do you have? Some of that time as well is, do this. Not usually. Usually it's, they want your creative feedback. Otherwise, they hire you. And then about 30% of the time is there are no rules. It literally is whatever I want. Because for magazines, a lot of times when you do an editorial, secret that people don't know, photographers don't get paid for that. All those 6 to 12 page editorials in the back of magazines, maybe the biggest magazines, Vogue will give a very tiny stipend, a couple $100s, but almost every other magazine, it's treated as an advertisement for the photographer. And as that, the photographer can do whatever they want to advertise, their vision and their talents. So,
and that's a good thing because it's not only does it give you exposure, but it also gives you chances to be able to kind of stretch and exercise creatively.
Definitely.
So that's a good thing. Now, speaking about stretching and exercising creatively, you have an exercise here in a shoot that you did. So tell me a little bit about the shoot.
Okay, sure. This shoot was for a publication called Paper Cut Magazine, and it's an online and print publication. It's fashion photography, it's clothing, it's interviews with designers, just kind of the fashion realm. And every month they have a different theme. And so the theme for this month, and I had just shot this, was red. That was it. There was nothing more besides red. And so I have a million ideas, and what I do is I save all of these files on my computer for inspiration. Anything I see that I like, whether it's clothing, it's hair, makeup, it's location, I save the files. So I'm flipping through them and I'm thinking, and I wanted to do something with, okay, red clothing. All right, makes sense, it's red. But I didn't want it just to be subtly red. I wanted that photo to scream red, to jump off of the page.
This doesn't scream red to me right now.
No, I mean, you see, the clothes are really pretty. But
no, well, this is beautifully red. But what are you going to do here?
Okay, so in this editorial, I saw that across the street from where I live is Central Park, and there were all of these yellow trees. Well, yellow isn't red, but I was thinking, okay, so maybe I can change it. Maybe I can go in there and make the leaves red. There were a couple trees with red leaves, but not what I was envisioning. Well, I found out actually by going into Photoshop, it's pretty easy to make those yellow leaves red. Or if I had all green, it's really easy.
Okay, take me through it.
All right, so what you're going to do is in your layers palette, you're going to come down to, I call it the half moon cookie, but your adjustment layers. And I'm going to go into hue saturation.
Okay.
All right, so hue saturation, usually what you see is maybe if somebody wanted to drag the hue, it changes the entire hue of the photograph. It changes the color tonalities and everything. Well, I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to go in just to the yellows and make them red.
Okay.
So what you can do is you can go over here to where it says master. And what you're doing there is you're selecting what colors you want to affect.
Okay.
So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go into yellows because I want those yellows to be red. So again, now we're in the yellows channel, just affecting yellows. I'm going to drag the hue slider and move it around basically until it looks like how I want. So you can see, as I'm dragging it, it starts to get
I love it.
to that red. Now, the thing is, if you're looking at this, if you look at the reds here, those reds are out of gamut. In the idea, like they're blown out, you lose detail in it. So I want that red color, but that to me is just, it's obviously it's not believable, but it's really not believable.
It's cooked, right?
Yes, exactly. So I'm going to go to saturation and just back off a little bit. I like the reds, but it's just a little bit too red.
Backing off.
So I start backing off, and I back off a little bit.
Just
And so
further back, right here. This good?
You did kind of smell today. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You've been good to me all day.
I've been good to you all day.
You have been taking care of me.
That'll probably all get cut. We'll keep being here.
Okay, ready?
So your saturation, okay.
So I backed off the saturation a little bit.
That's
and
good.
so if you want to take a look at this before after, you know, it's really made those reds match. It screams red in that photograph. The one thing that you'll notice that I did have as a problem though, her face, if I zoom in here, you can see that her face did change a little bit because skin tones have reds and yellows in them. So the yellows, when I changed it, well, now they're kind of looking a little red. So if you guys know anything about layer masks, adjustment layers, right now it's white. White means that I'm revealing that effect. I'm showing basically the hue change in that yellow is on the whole picture. Well, I can go in, I can grab a black paintbrush, and if I paint on that mask just where I don't want that change to apply, then I can paint basically just on her face and bring back those natural tones the way that it was before. And I could go in and, you know, paint off her arms and off her chest and wherever it needs to be. So it brings it so that her skin tones are realistic, but then I have the surreal but beautiful effect on all the other leaves. So now when I look at this photograph, it's not about, you know, just the fall. It's not just about this beautiful girl. It's a color about, or it's an editorial about the color red.
All right.
And so I did that for the entire shoot.
And see, and one of the things that I like about this, and one of the things that I appreciate about what you bring to this, is the fact that sometimes it tends to get overcomplicated. We tend to overcomplicate the use of Photoshop. Something like this is a very, very simple change.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know about using a drop down to select yellows to move them over to red.
Right.
Nice.
And I definitely do some things that are really complicated. But if you can keep it simple, why not? Just keep it simple.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Lily, if they want to be able to find out more information about you, where do they go?
Sure. My website is lindsayadlerphotography.com, and I put a ton of information up on my blog, which is blog.lindsayadlerphotography.com. So
Perfect.
I'm always updating.
We'll put that over in the show notes. Lindsay, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
We're back. We are back. That was cool.
That was.
She's awesome. She's the real deal, and she's very, very, very talented and a great instructor. So thank you to Lindsay. I think, if I'm not mistaken,
I think you may be right.
it might be time. It might be that special moment
Is it PD time?
for Pete Collins.
Yep. Well,
Pete,
guys,
what do you got today?
well, I've got a quick tip on Photoshop CS6. And the neat thing about CS...
Blank piece of paper.
Blank piece of paper. There you go. How to create that right there. The great thing with CS6 is they have added some unique type features that have kind of been a long time in coming. And now if you go up and you look in the menu bar up top, you see that it's actually got its own setting up here. We've got a type panel up here. So for graphic designers, you're going to be excited about all the things you can do with type now. There's character styles, there's paragraph styles, which are great functions to have. I wish I was organized enough to use them, but they're there. I'm excited about them. But there are two things I want to show you real quick. Now, if you're doing a layout in Photoshop, you can paste your own lorem ipsum. And what lorem ipsum is it's basically a text generator that you can fill parts of your text. Let's say you have a magazine outline or outlay, a magazine layout. Thank you, Corey. Magazine layout, and you want to create some text box, and you want to know how that text is going to look inside of there. You don't want to have to type in anything, and if you don't know what the text is you're going to put in there yet, you can generate this lorem ipsum to act like a filler with the text to see how it's going to look. That's the first part, but what I'm really excited about is this right here. If I now come to my type and I come down to, oh, I got a quick tip for you. If once you create this text, if you want to have it settle in, say, yes, I want to use this, normally whatever you use, once you're finished doing it, if you just hit return, it says, yes, use this, apply this setting. Well, if it's text and you hit return, it's simply going to return to the next one. Make sure you hold down your command and return to cause it to apply that text setting. Huh?
On the laptop, like, because if I have my keyboard, I'll use the numeric pad on the keyboard, and you can hit enter, return there, and it works fine.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah.
See, I'd never used the keyboard.
Yeah, if you use the regular size keyboard, and you press enter, return on the numeric pad, it commits your type. But if you're using a laptop, then you got to hold down that little command or control key.
Well, I just learned from Matt. Okay, if you're on a laptop. This just in, if you're on a laptop, command and return will apply that text. If you're on a keyboard, use your enter key over there.
Sorry, Pete.
No problem. No, I'm always wanting to learn. This is what I wanted to show you right here. If you go down to your type menu and come down here to font preview size, most of you that are going to be messing with this are probably visual in nature. And so you're going to want to be able to see what kind of fonts you have in your font collection. Well, you've got this selection here that's called None. It will give you no preview. It'll just give you the names of your fonts. And those are for those people that have that encyclopedic knowledge of fonts and are probably not the kind of people that I'm going to hang out with because I'm not that good with fonts. I want to go from small. You can choose small, medium, large, extra large, and my favorite, huge. I'm so excited that somebody has a sense of humor in Photoshop.
I love that they call it huge.
And they labeled it huge. And of course...
Would have been better if it said ginormous.
I know. Of course, I'm going to do that. And so now when you come over and you're looking at your fonts, they're huge. And now you get a great representation of what that font's going to look like. And that's going to speed up your font selection when you're working on something. To be able to come in here and see exactly how that font is, instead of it being a tiny font, is going to make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I think I should rename a lot of stuff in Photoshop that way. Just call it what it is.
Oh yeah. So I'm really excited. They took and made it better, and they named it huge.
I still think ginormous would have been a better one for it.
But you're right though. The text formatting in Photoshop is light years what it was. I remember when, what was it, 3 or 4? You select the text tool and you click on it. It would open up a dialog box that you would input your text in, and then you would hit enter, and then it would put the text on your image rasterized. So
yeah, I remember.
That was like version 3 or 4 back then.
See, I don't remember. Yeah. I just started using Photoshop at CS5.
And that was crazy. I mean, that's when nobody's really doing.
Oh, and that was good.
I didn't catch it.
So I just started using Photoshop in CS5.
Well, and the great thing is they've incorporated.
I guess it wasn't that good.
The great thing is they've incorporated a lot of stuff that they have over with InDesign into this, so it's going to be an even smoother transition between Photoshop and InDesign. And they've done a great job with it. So you graphic designers out there are really going to be excited.
There's more and more reasons not to leave Photoshop.
Yeah. Well, that's what they're trying to do, is create a monopoly.
Yeah.
Speaking of leaving Photoshop, so I reshared a post. So I'm on Google Plus here. If you take a look at my screen really quick, I reshared a post that Corey had put on Google Plus about us being live on there. So 2 things to this. One being, if you don't know, we do this show live, so you can watch the show. You don't have to wait for it to come out on iTunes. The other thing is I posted it, said, anybody got any questions? A gentleman had asked about, well, let's see, there's 2 of them down here. Did you get your laptop? So earlier today, I had posted on how I left home and left my laptop at home.
You forgot your.
But I brought everything else with me.
Yeah.
All this useless stuff that I could very easily have forgotten, I brought with me, but I forgot my laptop at home. Anyway, he says, with CS6, how much editing do you do on your laptop versus a desktop workstation? So I thought that was a pretty good question. I don't know about you, but I do know about you. You don't have a desktop, and I don't think you use a desktop either, and I don't use a desktop. So we do everything on our laptops, and I don't have any performance problem. I mean, when I have a large Photoshop file, I'm sure you guys have the same problem. it might take a little bit longer to save or a little bit longer to do something.
I mean, I know when I get to a certain point in 3D, if I'm building something pretty complex, I'll start to notice a little bit of lag here and there.
Yeah.
It cause me to maybe want to quit the program, restart. Basically, in some cases, restart the computer, just kind of get a fresh start and everything. But
I've gotten so accustomed to working on a laptop that I don't even really know what it's like to have it any faster anymore, because it's not feasible for me to have a
24-inch
desktop.
iMac at home, and that's really just my media / email. I mean, all my really heavy lifting is all because this is maxed out. I've got 16 gigs of RAM, and this thing is maxed out with RAM, and even that with 3D can get a little bit,
What about you, Petey?
Yeah, no, by the very nature of what we do, we've got to travel, we've got to move around. Everything needs to be on a laptop so that we can have our files and stuff like that. I haven't used a desktop at home in 8 years, I think.
Yeah.
It's all been laptops.
So,
it's pretty much
in answer to the question, if you're wondering about performance, I'm perfectly happy with it. I think CS6 is faster than CS5 was in many ways.
I got to say, it seems in general more people are going with laptops more than desktop workstations.
Oh yeah,
these days.
I think desktops.
Everybody loves the portability of bringing all that power with you. So
yeah, I think desktops are kind of like point and shoots. I mean, I don't know that they'll totally go away. Away, but I think they're definitely on their way out.
I mean, I've even known people that bought desktop workstations and then gone and taken them back and got laptops because they said, I really wanted to be able to take it, and just have that power. But it used to be you couldn't have the kind of power and size, screen, and resolution you'd had in laptops these days. So it's that much more feasible. So.
All right, we got prizes?
We do.
What do we got?
Got a couple of books here for today. We have the iPad for Photographers.
Oh, I read that book.
Actually, a pretty good one. Jeff Carlson. I have not met him.
I read that book. I thought that's a cool idea for a book.
It was.
So you know what I liked about it, and this is just, I mean, neither here nor there. It's size. It's a small book, and it kind of just, I'd always wondered about like what do other people do? What's kind of like the best practices for using my iPad? So I thought it was really good. He kind of goes over. What I liked is he kind of just picks. He says, this is the app that you kind of want to use, rather than give you here's 25 apps. Tells you what to use.
And we have another from Rich Harrington. Our buddy Rich Harrington is creating DSLR video. So DSLR video is really big with cameras now. You definitely want. Richard's definitely one of the best out there when it comes to video and stuff like that. So he's an instructor at Photoshop World and such. We love Richard. Probably.
So if you go to kelbytv.com, go to the Photoshop User TV page. For this episode, you will see a comment section. Just leave a comment, and we'll go in there and pick some winners for the prizes.
Just random. Make a comment. Tell us a joke.
All right.
Tell us if you saw Avengers, what you think of it. I had to throw that in there. I'm sorry.
Corey's been over the top over Avengers. It was a very good movie, though.
Awesome movie. Yes.
Took my kids to see it on Friday when it came out.
Really enjoyed
it. Took them out of school early, so they totally.
So that made their day for sure.
Gosh,
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Petey, what do you got? Anything? Any closing arguments?
No, I'm just excited to be
here. What
did
you think of Avengers?
Avengers was awesome. Hulk stole
Did you take the family to see it?
I took 2 of the kids to see it. Yeah, the others are a little young, but we had a great time.
Cool.
Fantastic.
All right. Daniel, behind the jib there, anything we should know about?
He saw it too. You liked it, didn't you? All right.
Can we get a quick jib move just to say hi?
Oh, there's panning up.
We're never supposed to look at the jib.
We're not supposed to look at the jib, sorry.
Nope. Jen, back over there. Can we get a quick camera move?
What is acknowledging there we go.
There we go.
Shaky cam. The shaky cam scene.
You know what it is? It's you guys never. Sometimes we have to do a show. We got to get everybody that.
We'll run the cameras and have them do the show.
Well, nobody ever gets to see the people behind the cameras, and they do so much work in doing this. So anyway,
even on SNL, they always tend to show the cameramen sometimes.
We're gonna change that. Jen, Daniel, Meredith over there in the control room.
We need to make somebody in the crew
wherever
famous.
You are. We're gonna get you guys on the show soon.
Remember on David Letterman, his stage manager Biff. Was it Biff Henderson or something like that? He made that guy famous, just always calling him out on camera. So we're going to have to pick somebody and call them.
Jen, come here.
Come here, Jen.
Come here, Jen.
Stage manager Jen, come here. Say hi.
I'll do the
camera. Come here, Jen.
She's got the full producer gear here.
Hi. Hello, how are you guys?
Wait. So Jen, you don't know this, but Jen recently got married too.
I did.
Yes.
I did.
So,
my pictures have been all over retouching and.
I know.
That's right. Yes.
Because
our very own RC
and
Pete shot the wedding.
So she's gotten to see her pictures all over the place, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed. Pete's operating the camera over there.
He's not showing anything.
Pete may be able to keep his job yet.
Look at that. Look at that slow
He has a fallback.
Wow.
You know, Pete, I kind of like. I think
You
I
like it better with me over here?
I do. I do.
I'm going right up your nostril.
It was nice to meet
Jen,
everyone.
everybody
Thank
congratulates you on your
Thank you.
recent
Congratulations,
wedding.
Jen.
Pete, you cut her out. There she is.
Yep.
All right.
Wrong.
All right.
Oh, that's right. Guys, we have prolonged the end of the
Next
show
week we'll
as
introduce
long as
them.
possible. Thank you for watching this week. We appreciate it. Thank you to all of our sponsors for sponsoring the show as well. It's what allows us to continue to bring you this show for free each week. So if you're not a member of the NAPP, all we can ask you is that you just stop by PhotoshopUser.com. Check it out. Check out what NAP members get to see every day. All right, guys, take care.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you again very soon.
Very soon. Like in a few minutes.